Hi everyone, welcome back to Unwind Flow Yoga. I'm Amanda and I'll be guiding you through this restorative practice that can be done anytime. For today's intention, we'll be doing a midday practice. So this can be maybe on your lunch break or any time sort of in the middle of the day where you have a little bit of time that's just for you. So even though it's a restorative practice, we're going to keep the props pretty minimal so you can mix this class in at any time. I'll just recommend you have a blanket or a towel. You might like to grab one or two of those at least to make yourself extra cozy. So when you're ready, grab your blanket or towel and join me on the mat. Since we're starting off with this midday intention, we're going to do a little bit of movement. So when you're ready, come over onto hands and knees. So we're just going to start with a little cat-cow child's pose flow. So spread the fingers nice and wide, wrists underneath our shoulders, hips over our knees here, and just start to move the spine a little bit side to side and allow this to be really natural movement. So just sway the hips gently. Maybe turn this into more of a cat and cow. As you inhale, bring the chest forward. Exhale around the spine, and if any of that feels good, you can make it a little larger, turning it into a child's pose, making this as big or as small as you like here. Having this rejuvenation quality of our poses. So really thinking about this first little bit of movement as if we're water, just traveling through the path of least resistance. Especially if you've had somewhat of a busy day so far, we're just using this time to reconnect to ourselves. So turning this into a circle, turning it into a sway, just find something that feels good for you. And maybe trying that for another 5 breaths or so. See if you can start to listen here, start to just tune in to how you're feeling. Sort of just trying to get those busy feelings in our physical body to settle a little bit before we really turn this into our restorative practice. All right, so if you need more time, feel free to pause the video there, but we'll start to integrate our restorative poses here. So this is where we'll grab onto our blanket for our first pose. So taking your blanket here and rolling it up into sort of a long cylinder here. And we're gonna take our blanket vertical on our mat, and then we're actually going to lie our spine down onto this roll. So come onto the sitting bones here, and you can take the roll close down to your tailbone here, and then slowly lower the spine down onto your blanket roll, making sure the head feels supported. So you might need to shimmy down on your roll a little bit. And then the leg can be wherever is comfortable for you. So keeping the knees bent or legs extended, the knees are bent. It can feel good to rest the inner knees towards each other. Arms are out by the sides, palms face up or down, your choice, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And then bring your awareness here to the breath. If it's comfortable for you, soften the eyes closed. And notice as everything starts to become more still, if that sense of stillness seems accessible to you or if it still feels a little bit further away. No judgment here, just notice. Notice what your starting point is here for today's practice. Moving the breath in through the nose and release the breath out through the nose. Notice this sense of support underneath you, so spine lying along your roll here. Starting to pay attention to what your needs are. Perhaps if you're doing this class during the workday, you've been working really hard, paying a lot of attention to the needs of others. See if you can start to pay attention to what you need. Keeping that awareness throughout our class. Bring your awareness now to the front body here, this gentle opening. Noticing the shoulders falling away from the midline of the body, creating a little bit more space. And if it feels like too much space, you can always unroll your blanket a little bit, make it a little smaller. But noticing the sense of support that allows you to tap into what you need. Stay here 2 more breaths. And then bottom of your next exhale, start to transition out of our pose into our next pose. So even before you start to move, reconnect to this awareness. What do I need? How can I meet my needs with the way that I exit this pose? And then slowly rolling over onto one side, rolling off of your support. And then press yourself up just enough that you can adjust your blanket roll. So keeping it about as thick as it was before or unrolling it a little bit. We're going to come into a side lying pose here. So turning our roll so that the support will line up with our rib cage here. So I'm starting off on my left side. I'm going to take my left arm above the roll and slide it long out and then gently rest my rib cage down on the support. And if you have a second blanket here, you can turn that into a pillow for the head, or you can extend the left arm up and rest the head onto the arm, and then maybe take your right arm, lift it up and overhead. Allow the palms to touch if that makes sense, or right hand just rests on the left arm. Thinking about the legs, noticing if they just fell naturally in a comfortable position, or if you would like to bring the knees closer together, or even stagger the legs so the top knee is touching the bottom foot. Sometimes I find my legs just sort of land the way they'd like to be. And then once you've arrived in your pose, see if you can return to that feeling of stillness and internal awareness. Thinking about the breath. Noticing if maybe thoughts of the day are coming into the mind. Seeing if there's anything that you can just put on a shelf for later, recognizing that you can pick it up again once we're done our practice. No judgment, just notice. Bring your awareness to the bottom side ribs. As you inhale, gently feeling the expansion, pressing softly into the support. As you exhale, feel that release. Bring your awareness now to your top ribs. So for me, it's my right side. Noticing the support of the bottom ribs here that allows more space on the right side body. Feeling the space maybe all the way from the right toe to the right pinky finger.
recognizing that space originates from our rib cage. Staying there 2 more breaths. And then on your next inhale, slowly releasing the right arm, just resting it here on the support. And then when you feel ready, slowly transitioning to the second side. So lifting the head up, using the bottom arm to support you. And you can just roll over to the second side. I'm just going to switch sides, so I'm still facing you. So when you're ready, gently rolling over. This time my right rib cage will be aligned with the blanket. Right arm can rest out in front if you have a support. I'll show you what that looks like. So you can just place it under your head like a pillow and then gently resting the side of your head on your support. Adjusting it so you feel relaxed there. Trying to have as minimal effort as possible. Draping the top arm overhead and resting there. Bringing the awareness back to the breath. Slowly breathe in and slowly breathe out. See if you can bring that awareness to direct your breath to the bottom rib cage once again as you breathe in. Feel the rib cage expand and gently pressing into your support. Breathe out, softening the side of your rib cage. And continuing there for a few cycles of your breath, just getting that sense of connection. And when you feel ready, letting that go. And then bring your awareness to that top side rib cage, noticing the expansion in space on your inhale, elongating all the way from your top pinky all the way to your bottom outer edge of the foot. One long line along the side body. Breathe in as you lengthen. Exhale, soften. Staying with your breath. As we stay here for a little bit longer, notice what you can soften in your pose. Notice what you can let go of. If it's comfortable for you, you can even close the eyes. Take a breath in and a breath out. In a moment, we'll start to move. So before we get there, just thinking of how you'd like to exit your pose. Start to drape the top arm back alongside the body, maybe resting it on your support. No rush to rise, but when you're ready, slowly re-supporting yourself. If you had a pillow under the head, just moving it out of the way. Placing your blanket off to the side for now, and then making your way to a lie back on the back body here. And we'll keep the knees bent for now, feet on the floor. For our next pose, we'll keep our right leg as is. Maybe step it a little bit further away to widen the angle of our knee. And then keeping our left knee bent, we're going to drop the knee out to the side and then slide the left foot behind the right heel. And we'll grab our blanket here and support the left knee for a little bit of a supported variation, but if you don't need the blanket, you don't need to have it. And then we'll just rest here. So take a moment to adjust the angles of your legs as you need. Right foot is planted on the floor, but as minimal effort as possible to keep it there. And then our left leg softens out to the side, supported or unsupported. Tapping back into the breath here as we observe this soft opening through the front of our left hip. As we remain here in this still pose, can you reconnect to your breath? Take a breath in and exhale, whole body softens. Remaining here with this awareness of the breath, take a moment to check in, notice if there's anything about your pose you can let go of. Bring in more of that soft quality. Take a breath in and exhale, release. From here, we'll make our way out. So using our left hand on the outside of our left thigh to bring the foot back to the floor, knees parallel here. And then we'll just switch sides. So if you used a support, bring it over to the opposite side. This time we'll keep our left foot where it is, maybe widening the angle of our knee, so shifting the foot a little bit further away, and then right foot tucks behind left heel, dropping the right knee out to the right side of your mat, and then maybe it falls comfortably, or placing the support underneath the knee. I really like using the support here so I can have as little effort as possible in my pose and just focus on this idea of resting, tapping into the sense of rejuvenation. Acknowledging that I am here to receive rest. Take a breath in. Exhale, release. Take a breath in. Exhale, let it go. Stay with your breath. In a moment, we'll start to reawaken to transition into our final pose. So before we start to move, see how much of this restful quality you can keep as you slide your right hand underneath the right thigh. Right foot comes to the floor, moving the support out of the way. Take a moment to settle here, both feet on the floor, just allowing the pose to integrate to your body. And then when you feel ready, you can stay in this pose for your Shavasana or extend one leg and then the other, having the heels at least as wide as the hips, maybe as wide as your mat. Arms are along by the sides, palms face up. Take a moment there to make any adjustments that you need for a minute or two of rest here. And then enjoy a few moments of silence in Shavasana. Slowly beginning to deepen your breath here. Before we reawaken, I'll share a short quote from Judith Hanson Lassiter, who is well known for her role in restorative yoga. Taking time out each day to relax and renew is essential to living well. With that intention here, start to bring some movement back into fingers and toes. Circle wrists and ankles, move the head side to side. If it feels good for you, you can extend the arms up and overhead before you bend both knees and hug them in towards your chest, wrapping the arms around the legs. As you're ready, roll over onto one side and then press yourself up into a comfortable seated pose. Ending off our practice all together. We'll face our palms up on the thighs here in this receiving position. Receiving gratitude for our sense of rest. Take a breath in there. Exhale, let it go. Take another breath there, that's just for you. And then when you're ready, slowly draw the palms towards heart center. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again very soon. Namaste.